We didn't get to where we were going yet. But that key word yet, that means that we're still halfway in the process. It's very easy to pop off like, what you say? Like, who you think you're talking about? You don't know my struggle. It's easy to go that route. But if we stay focused on ourselves, God could choose to speak to you through anyone, through anything at that particular time. Hey, everybody, my name is Nishanta, and welcome to the podcast Lead in Love. I just want to take some time to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a mother first, I am a career educator, and I am also have an extensive background in social services. So, short story short, I really know people. More importantly, as I was learning people through early childhood development and then through how people behave during their extenuating circumstances, it really helped me put a hammer down on my own life and just kind of, clean all that up and get it together as far as things that I had never been taught, removing generational curses and the like. So that's who I am, and this is where I'm at. I felt like maybe if I was able to help myself in life, help my clients in life, that maybe I can help you. Maybe there's somebody out there, some untapped audience that I may never see in real life, but because of the World Wide Web and the internet, etc., you would be able to hear me in this way. So that is my prayer, that I help not only myself, but that I am able to help you, and that you are able to help yourself, but then you are also able to help the next person. So let's just, have that butterfly effect going. All right, on with the program. So I wanted to talk today about failure. What is failure to me? The fear of failure. Like, there's a million buzzwords and keywords, but I think I'm going to start with just failure itself. And so, failure, though, to pinpoint this word, it really just means trying to attain the goal and not getting there yet. That's it. When you fail, you tried to do something you weren't quite able to do. You tried to go somewhere you weren't quite able to get. That's it. But this is my whole thing, because there are all these inspirational lines, like failure is never final and never fatal. And, I might be misquoting that, but you know what I'm talking about. You know where I'm going with this. The point is that failure still hurts like a bleepity bleep. I'm not going to curse on here, but it hurts. All the inspirational things that people say, oh, you just got to get back up and try again. When's the last time you got back up and tried again with all this pain? How does it make you feel? I wanted to just touch on it because it's hard. And I know a thing or two, or three or four, or nine or 10 about failure, and how, despite the embarrassment, despite the lack of not having and everybody seeing you not have, despite the eyes looking at you and the mouths talking behind your back, even though you know what they said, despite all that, you still got to get up and go again. It's hard to not listen to what people are saying about you. It's hard to act like you don't hear it or to act like you don't know. It's very easy to pop off like, what you say? Like, who you think you talking to? Who you think you talking about? You don't know my struggle. It's easy to go that route. But if we stay focused on ourselves, right? Because remember, failure means that we didn't get to our goal yet. We didn't get to where we were going yet. But that key word yet, that means that we're still halfway in the process. See, one of my whole things that I'm really big on is self leadership, meaning that you have to take the lead in your own life. You can't listen to what somebody else is saying about you. You can't follow their directions for your life. You can't take their opinions into consideration. You really have to look at all the information and then decide for yourself what makes you feel good, what makes your heart happy. When you hear option A and option B, which option makes you feel better about yourself? Which one makes your heart flutter? You know what I'm saying? And that's the one that you go with. No one can tell you that. No one can point it out for you. It's your job. So this is my whole thing. When you are focusing on yourself, you already have something to do. So failure means that you didn't get there yet. So let's focus on the yet. Forget all the haters that's going to be right back in your living room and in your kitchen when you start being successful, when you make it. Matter of fact, probably not. They probably prefer you to be in that unsuccessful place or in that state of failure, hoping that you'll stay there. You need to remove them as soon as possible. But let's get back and let's stay focused. Let's focus on the yet, right? Because you didn't get there yet. Okay, cool. So when you're focusing on yourself, you know that you still have some more steps to do. It's just like baking a cake. I was thinking about this earlier. I have three kids. My youngest daughter, at one point, she was really, really into like culinary arts, baking and frosting and, all this fancy stuff. So I brought her all the tools, all the blah, blah, blah. It was one Thanksgiving. This was years ago. She had made a couple different cakes. And by the way, she has celiac disease. So these were all gluten free cakes. Now, on a normal occasion, like her cakes were the bomb. Like we can eat them. We don't taste the gluten free wheat or whatever, etc. It's I'm sorry, not gluten free wheat. That's wrong. She would kill me if I said that. It's actually gluten free substitute for wheat. Anyway, etc. So, usually you can't even taste it, whatever. But on this particular occasion, the cake was terrible. And so, like, we tasted it and it's Thanksgiving, and I'm like, I wonder what she did wrong. And somebody else tasted it and they were like, oh, she forgot to add the sugar. And I'm like, wow. And she took it like a champ. She was like, oh, for real? Okay. And she just basically, tossed it in the trash. And when we came back home, this was a family event, etc. When we came back home, she made another pineapple turnover cake, and it was amazing. All I'm saying is, I'm using this as an example because in that moment, she failed. She had the opportunity and it was like a public failure. To me, those are the worst kinds of failures. It's different when you fail in private. And I don't even really know if that to me is considered failure. It's just like, okay, a correction. But when I fail in public, it just feels magnified to like 1,000%. All eyes on me, flash hot like embarrassment. I'm feeling the heat. Everybody's looking and judging. All of a sudden, I'm a mind reader. I can hear everybody around me thoughts, you know, but that's just me. Maybe nobody else feels like that. But in this moment, she was so okay with the fact that she didn't get that cake right. She literally scrapped it and threw it in the trash. And as soon as she got rid of that failure, it was gone. But in her head, she already had on her mind that she was going to be successful in this fact. She was already successful. She did it once, she could do it again. She came home, she made the turnover. It was a pineapple turnover cake or whatever. It was amazing. The pineapples were soft. Everything was right. It was sweet. Everything was right. And I look at that example like, okay, because she could have had the chance to, sink into her failure, be depressed for the rest of the party, and just, get into this negative thing. And she was cool. And if we take that example, be it a public failure or a private failure, because sometimes we're real hard on ourselves, then we know that if we accomplished one good thing, we can do it again. That's it. If we fail, that's only half of the sentence. The failure only stops right there if we don't continue to go on. Because remember, when you fail, it means that you haven't reached your goal yet. You didn't get there yet. So in this moment, I want you just to agree with me that your failure, whatever that is, wherever you're going, is only half the story. And it's going to even make your story better. Because who knows, you might be with social media, you might be on TikTok, you might be on YouTube, you might be on Snapchat. There's all kinds of stuff out there where you might want to tell your story from point A to point B. Maybe in the middle somewhere, like point T was the failure, but then you continue to go on QRX. Oh wait, Q A B C. Uh-oh. I might have messed up them letters. But you know what you know what I mean. Like you're getting there and you're doing what you have to do. I need for you to remember that number one, don't be so hard on yourself. Please don't be hard on yourself. You're doing what you have to do. And as long as you're trying as hard as you can try and making the decisions that you have to make, you will continue to learn as you go. There's this saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So you need to be, whatever is a thing that is holding you back, or you're not seeing success quite yet, you need to continue to search for your teacher. You need to be an apt student. That means open-minded, willing to learn, ready to go. Because one of these days, the door is going to open and God is going to be like, okay, now you're ready for this teacher. Okay, now you're ready for this lesson. Okay, now you're ready for this. Because guess what? That's what life is about. Life is not about just, okay, you wake up and you have success. Life is about continuing to climb that mountain and to get to that success and then help others behind you. Because we don't live a life with just one person. We live a life that's filled with generations, meaning frontwards and backwards. And then we live a life of the people that are in this time with us, meaning our children, our parents, you know what I mean? If you can, if you guys can see what I'm doing, I'm extremely visual. So just think, frontwards and backwards is the generation, and before us and behind us. And then on the sides of us are our children, our cousins, our aunts, are all those people that are with us right now. This is how life works. And if put all of that together, it becomes a huge circle or a sphere of how we're supposed to grow as the human family. Each one teach one. You can't do it alone. If you are failing right now, you are failing because, not because of your lesson, but because you're supposed to overcome this so you can teach somebody else. So agree with me right now that you are going to teach someone else and document this failure. That's huge. Document it. You know why? Because it's not a failure. I got to stop saying the word, but I just need to say failure because I don't really know what other word to put there quite yet. And I need for everybody to understand what I'm saying. But you got to document this failure because it is part of the process. It is the stepping stones. Just like scientists, when they're doing experiments, they write everything down or they, record it on their little audio thing. You need to record every single step in this experiment called life because once you hit success, once you get to that finish line of that victory lap, in the words of Nipsey Hussle, then that means that you are ready. You are ready to go back and teach someone else. All right. Okay. So I get hyped. Now, let's talk about where you are now. So, when you know you made it is honestly when you're able to teach somebody else. That's it. Bottom line. Many people, the most skilled learner, the most skilled life liver, the most skilled person that practices self leadership is able to teach others while they're in the midst of their failures. Because it's like, okay, maybe I haven't figured out quite yet what to do, but I know don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, and don't do that. Okay. Eventually we'll get to the right answer, but I can tell you what all the wrong answers are. That's cool. That's a part of the process. And so I want you to take a look at yourself and decide where you are right now and whatever this particular challenge is. Excuse me. If you are having a difficult time or you need something to listen to, close your eyes and find some Jim Rohn or some well, first of all, let me just explain this. Jim Rohn, he talks about like setting goals for life. So he's going to tell you always to have a pen and a piece of paper when you listen to him because you're going to need to write it all down. You're going to need to put dates by it. You're going to need to, explain all this out. Maybe you need a little bit of Les Brown. He's on the same type tip, but he also was very much about like the possibility. Like if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And he's very funny. He laughs all the time. I like him. He's like a very upbeat kind of guy. And then there's Earl Nightingale. For me, I listen to Earl Nightingale when I'm on my way to bed. He has kind of a deeper voice and he's just very, like very teachery. But he's like the master of motivational speakers. So start with these guys and just try and see what you can learn from them. Because I honestly believe that if you're on this channel right now, if you're listening to this podcast right now, it's not really to listen to me, it's to listen to the lessons that I learned, whether I completed them yet and reached that success or whether I'm still in the process. So I am actively teaching as I learn. And a part of that teach as I learn is to listen to my teachers. Now, if you're much more of a contemporary and you enjoy 2023 things, because all of these guys are like old guys. They, did their thing in the 80s and the, earlier, and they're still around. Some of them, like Les Brown, I believe, is still around today. But for the most part, these guys are long gone. But what about Steve Harvey? Steve Harvey is amazing. Like you can listen to him. I mean, he be imparting wisdom on his game show, but you can actually go on to YouTube or somewhere and find his audio, find a quick video about him. But this is not a place for you to look at the shorts. This is a place where you need to invest time. Time is the only thing that you cannot get back in this life, okay? You can find love again. You can even get more blood. You can get a blood transfusion. You can't get back your time. Invest in your time and listen to these individuals because this is what's going to help you. This will propel you to success. These are your lessons. This is where they come from. Or these are the answers to your questions. How about that? This is the syllabus for your lessons. Ooh, that was good. I'm gifted. All right. Anyway, I'm kidding. So, what I have learned is that everyone has a mirror to the universe. The mirror to the universe actually means that you could be anywhere in the world right now, and God could choose to speak to you through anyone, through anything at that particular time. If these things happen, it is not a coincidence. It is never a coincidence. You have to listen because this is propelling you to the next part of your destiny. There's a whole poem out there. It's very, very old. My grandma, God rest her soul, used to have a million copies of these all over the house. It was called Footprints in the Sand. Short story shorter, there were two sets of footprints. And God said that he walked beside you. But when there was one set of footprints, the speaker of the poem was like, God, where did you go? And God was like, no, dog, that's when I carried you. In this instance, if you are experiencing a really, really hard time or you're struggling, you don't know where to go and you don't know what to do, I want you to imagine in this moment that God is carrying you. See only those one set of footprints in the sand. Go online and Google and find that poem if you don't know it already and commit that to your memory because this is truly the process of learning. This is truly the process of getting to that success. You see, the two footprints was when the speaker was, moving and shaking and communicating and working. But then when it was one set of footprints, that's because the failure had occurred. Like try, boom, hit a brick wall. Oh, you laid out. God scooped you up and carried you and said, no, this is where we're going to go next. This is how we get to the mirror of the universe because through that, God will choose to communicate with you in any way he sees fit. It's almost like the Matrix, how the agents could just kind of like go into anybody's body and do whatever. Like, think of it that way. If you are thinking about a problem or you are trying to come up with an answer or something like that, and all of a sudden you hear something on the radio that inspires you, that was from God. You got to acknowledge it. Say thank you. If you were, trying so hard or you had a dream, etc., all of a sudden you get a call from somebody and they have the complete answer to your problem, that's God. That's a part of the universal mirror. So just remember that it reflects back and forth the same way that God can see us, we can see him. So we need to pray. We need to continue to acknowledge. We need to be grateful. We need to live in gratitude. And in return, he will communicate with us through that universe. All right, everybody. So that's it, or at least that's enough for today. You guys know all my handles. I have 3 channels on YouTube. They are Lead in Love Motivational, Lead in Love, which is the podcast, and Quotes Lead In, where I put up all my favorite quotes. You're welcome to check any of those out. I have a TikTok that's comprised mostly of shorts. I have a website that is leadinlove.com. And if you want to hit me up, you can just email me at minicall.fewchosen@gmail.com and we'll see what we can do. All right. Until then, thank you all so much for being here. I really, really appreciate your time. I need you guys to please, please, please make a commitment to lead the life you want to live. That's self-leadership, guys. Again, lead the life you want to live. All right. Take care.